Ken Ham tweeted.
Oh, that has happened, unfortunately.
Okay, so, and this is how Hemant starts out the blog post. It's incredible how many mistakes creationist Ken Ham can make in one tweet. But I guess he's a pro, considering how many mistakes there are in the Creation Museum. So here's Ken Ham's tweet.
Yeah.
The atheist religion...
Stop.
And hang on, let me finish the tweet. The atheist religion, and that's what it is, a religion, is intolerant of Christianity as they worship nature and shake their fist at God. There's some grammatical things going on.
Yeah.
They shake their fist, singular.
It's Twitter. You had to stick to 140.
Do all atheists share one common fist?
Yes.
The atheist religion,
Right.
You had a problem with that.
Yeah.
Why?
Atheism isn't a religion. I mean, I know this has been said before, but like, if you want to call atheism a religion, then like off is a TV channel and bald is a hair color. It doesn't make sense to categorize it like that, unless you want to define religion to the point where it just has no meaning.
Okay.
Well, so what's your definition of religion?
How do you define religion?
Religion is believing in, I think supernatural deity has to play a role in this, the supernatural. I think that otherwise, like, fans of the Chicago Cubs are a religion.
Some people have argued that
you
they
can
are.
call it that, but we are defining it something very different from what religious people use.
Let's back up. This is a huge ongoing debate, even legally, when it comes to how do you First Amendment rights and all that sort of thing.
Right.
So you can go with your definition of there has to be something supernatural, but that's looking at the content as defining the religion versus the function.
Yes.
There are things that function as religions for people which do not have supernatural content. So Paul Tillich, famous theologian from earlier in the 20th century, argued that every human being is religious because every human being has something of ultimate concern. And that which is of ultimate concern to you, which sort of defines your life and your purpose, every human being has that. For some, it is the Chicago Cubs or Disney World or
I think that was a poke
or
at you.
atheism.
Yeah.
So let me make 2 points to that. One is, if you want to say this is the thing that binds us together, something fine, and legally speaking, that you bring it up, the way, at least that I have seen the courts use it, they will say like, we're not taking a stance on whether atheism is or isn't a religion, but as far as First Amendment cases go, we are going to treat it like a religion.
Right.
In that, when we say city council invocations, they have to be open to people of all religious beliefs. That includes atheists. That's the legal way they've interpreted
So it's a
it.
category on a wheel that we call belief systems. Is it a
And then there's the Ken Ham definition, which by the way he's saying that, he's not talking about philosophy. He's saying it's an atheist religion because, like, I don't know.
You
Richard,
worship the devil?
No, because Richard Dawkins is saying something and you automatically believe it because he said
dogma.
it.
So it's an unreflective...
That's not even true.
So, but I mean, even that goes both ways because there's clearly Christians, Muslims, Jews, whoever, who are unreflective and unthoughtful and just accept whatever they've been fed. And then there are others for whom it is researched and thoughtful and engaged. So even there, I mean, not all atheists are thoughtful. Not all are friendly.
I agree. I totally agree.
At some point, this is an ongoing debate that our society is going to have to figure out for a lot of reasons.
Right. Is there a difference between atheism and scientific naturalism?
Depends how you want to define. I mean,
because atheism is just it's a plank. It's not a platform.
That's very true, and that makes it very hard.
Tenet.
This is an argument we have amongst ourselves, which is that that's a problem because we're atheists, but what else? What else binds us together? Because it's not politics, even though there's a trend in one direction, and it's not certain issues because there's trends in that direction. So when you say that's why there are people who call themselves humanists. Because they feel like this is a better symbol for what I do believe in. Because atheism is one answer to one question, and then you're done.
Well, and that's the difference. Like, we don't call ourselves theists, we call ourselves Christians. Because theism is just the belief in a personal God, but it doesn't say anything more than that. Whereas Christianity says, there's a personal God, and here's all this other
and some people
that
said,
it out.
Atheists have a whole set of beliefs. It's a whole belief system. Therefore, it's just like a religion. Many people then say, no, there's no atheists don't believe anything. They reject a belief in something.
And
But here's my question: Are you familiar with the monument that the American atheists put up in Florida?
The courthouse one?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. A whole side of it is...
It's like a bench with quotations
yes,
and
a
stuff.
whole side of it is atheists believe. And it's a whole series of quotes from...
So that quotation, let me specify. There was, I believe, a Ten Commandments monument outside a courthouse.
Yeah.
The atheists wanted to say, look, either take that down because it's promoting Christianity,
or let us
put up something up. And because it's American atheists, and they're a specific group, they said, well, here's our bench. Here's some quotations by, I think, some founding fathers.
Yeah, Madalyn Murray O'Hair.
And Madalyn Murray O'Hair, who founded our group, who once said in a speech, she wasn't saying, like, atheists have to believe X, Y, and Z. Okay. She was saying, you know, atheists in general. It's like saying Christians in general, we are good people who do this and that. She was saying atheists like to build a hospital as opposed to...
a church.
Something like that. It wasn't saying you have to believe in this, otherwise you're a bad atheist.
But doesn't it undermine the argument to put in stone, here's...
If you're taking that quotation literally... If you're taking that quotation literally, sure. But that's not what the quotation is saying. Again, believe me, I know a lot of atheists who don't like that quotation or what they were trying to do with the bench. But as far as what are the tenets of atheism, if you want to call it a religion, I think you would find quite a bit of disagreement, even among atheists, as to what those would be.
Right. And humanism came from some very liberal pastors. Universalists. So humanism didn't start out as atheist.
There's a reason it's secular humanism to
distinguish from that. Gotcha. Okay, so number one, wait, I just lost the oh, there it is. Number one, atheism is not a religion. Yeah. I think you're good with that?
So it sounds like to me, sorry, just let me pipe in for a second. It sounds like we're 50-50 on that. It sounds like technically, for the government's purposes, it's classified as a religion, and you'll agree with that.
It's on the wheel of belief systems.
Right.
Because if you don't do that, you're putting it in some weird category where you can't make judgment calls on legal issues.
Right. So you have to have something to hang your hat on.
Yeah.
Right. But yet you're saying we as a whole group of atheists don't ascribe to this set of specific belief system tenets.
There's no statement of faith?
There's no statement of faith.
Is there a statement of unfaith?
We don't believe in a higher power, but there are atheists.
But it's not about higher, isn't it really, and you can tell me if I'm wrong, most of the world believes the natural world is not a closed system. That there's something beyond the natural world, things can come in from beyond the natural world. Metaphysics.
The supernatural.
Supernatural.
Yes.
Scientific naturalism is the very explicit rejection of that, saying the natural world is a closed system.
Can I rephrase that another way? There are people who will say God doesn't exist, who will say the supernatural cannot come into this world, which is, I think, what you're getting at with the scientific naturalism.
Yeah.
And I think this is one of those petty but important distinguishing things, which is to say, I don't know a lot of atheists who would say, no, I'm categorically rejecting all of that. They would say, look, show me the evidence, but until you do, I'm just going to live my life as if those things are not happening.
Isn't that an agnostic?
No. And again, another one of those long-term arguments. I think an agnostic saying, look, I'm never going to figure this out. Okay. And it's a different question you're asking altogether, which is, I don't think we could figure it out, so I'm not going to take a position on that. Whereas atheists are saying, I don't think we can, or maybe I think we can figure it out, but I'm just heading in this direction. I hope I got that right. Maybe I didn't.
Okay.
People will complain, I'm sure. But again, these are all these philosophical questions.
Yeah.
But legally speaking, we got to make we got to figure this out somewhere.
Right.
But in terms of when I read that tweet by Ken Ham, he's saying it like, look, we're a religion, you're a religion. We have certain dogma, we're believing this, and you all believe the same thing. It's like, no.
And so the voices that are most outrageous and sensational from all points of view, whether you're talking politics or religion or whatever, are the ones that tend to get the eyeballs and get the clicks.
I don't disagree with that at all. What I would say is, as someone who writes a lot about some of the crazy things I've heard right-wingers say, I think one big difference is that Richard Dawkins speaks for himself because he doesn't represent anyone, unless you want to say, oh, there are other atheists out there.
Well, he does represent, the millions of people who buy his books and tend to
I
see
don't
him
even
as
know if I agree with that.
Some kind of figure of authority.
I buy his books and I think he says a lot of interesting things. Doesn't mean I subscribe to all of the crazy stuff he says. But a lot of the people that I would say, look, here's someone, not Westboro Baptist Church, for example, but here are certain pastors who said certain things. Their churches are filled with lots of people. They're on, like Ted Cruz, for example, has some of those people on his like faith committee or something like that. These are not one-off people. These are not people who are just living in their own bubble. They do have a lot of people who follow them and quote them and treat them
I would agree,
as such.
but that's part of it's a matter of tradition, because the way Christians have organized for 2,000 years has been in communities and congregations with leadership. I'm sure if Richard Dawkins came over to the United States and said, hey, I'm going to have a meeting every week, and we're going to rent a space to do it, he would fill it out. I guarantee people would come and want to hear him.
His last tour with Lawrence Krauss was a huge success.
Sure,
he was a
people
rock
will
star.
come to listen to what they have to say.
He has a following. Is my point.
And if
just
you're,
like a
if
pastor
you're on the
has a
message
following.
boards
Absolutely agree
after the articles that talk about this sort of thing, you'll have people that are just basically quoting him, cutting and pasting, and well, this is what.
Sure.
So there are leaders and there are followers, there are thoughtful people and irrational demagogues in every tradition.
I don't disagree at all.
And so, I think the Christian tradition of that is much longer, but they exist in atheist communities as well as every other religion.